Thank you, first of all, for taking the time out.
My pleasure.
So, first of all, before you judge me, the triumph and tragedy of Michael Jackson's last days, excuse me. What made you want to write this book? What was your motivation?
I was a Michael Jackson fan, as most of us, I think, were. And I had already purchased my plane tickets and my hotel reservations. I was headed to London to see this final show. Michael had said, this is it. His last time doing a concert series. And I wanted to see it. So I made my preparations to go to London. 16 weeks after making that announcement, Michael dies. As a fan, I want to know what happened. I mean, you told me you were coming back. The stage is where Michael belonged. Nobody's ever inhabited the stage the way he did. And I couldn't quite make sense of what had happened in that 16-week period while he was rehearsing, getting ready to come back on stage. And so I had a question. Why are you gone so soon? And in the process of wrestling with that question for the book, my question really did a 180. I started out again with a question of why are you gone so soon? When I got into the research, it was abundantly clear to me that the question really wasn't why are you gone so soon, but how did you survive this long? When I saw all that he was going through in that last 16 weeks, it quite miraculous that, can you close that door? Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. It's quite miraculous that he survived, I think, as long as he did. So it's really just trying to understand what happened in that last 16 weeks that took his life. And of course, you can't talk about the last 16 weeks without having, some connection to earlier parts of his life. But it was my interest, and this book is the first book to look at the last 16 weeks of his life. Once he made that announcement he was coming back, we reconstruct his life every day and take people inside his world, inside his heart, I think inside of his head, to what he was going through as he was trying to get back on stage one more time.
And you spoke about the death of Michael Jackson. So what was which was one of the most publicized events of all time? There's a lot of coverage on the TV, of course. What can readers expect to read about that they haven't heard on TV?
Yeah, I think part of what I said a moment ago, that we all think that Michael was gone too soon. When you get inside his world and see what was happening and all that he was up against, the pressure, the tension, trying to balance this drug dependency that he had. He's taking propofol by night and Demerol by day for pain. He's trying to balance this tension between drug dependency and staging this dramatic comeback. And I think, again, the sentiment that we all have tends to be that he died too soon at the age of 50. Well, what if it's a miracle that he made it to 50? What if you knew X, Y, and Z? Would your opinion change about the life he was living and the legacy he was trying to leave? I think the problem, when you become as iconic as Michael was, we get caught in this trap, essentially, of looking at his iconography, but we never make our way into his humanity. And what I'm trying to get at in the last 16 weeks of his life is, who is Michael Jackson at this point in his life? Who has he become? What's his world like? How is he inhabiting this space with his children? Michael wanted to come back one last time, more than anything else, for his kids. People think he wanted just money, needed the money. He was desperate, he was broke. To be clear, he had financial issues, but he really wanted his kids to see him on stage one more time. His kids had never seen him on stage. They'd only seen him on tape. So part of his decision to come back had to do with wanting his kids to see him. That's a human drama. That's a human longing to want for your kids to see you do something that they've never seen. So there's a whole different story to Michael. It's not just about the propofol or Conrad Murray or his debt or the greed of corporate America who wanted to get more money out of him. Started with 10 concerts, ended up being committed to do 50 concerts. So there are a lot of pieces to it. But I think ultimately it's what's it like in Michael's space, in his world, the last 16 weeks of his life. Who is Michael Jackson at this stage as he's trying to get back on stage?
Thank you. We just wanted to get a little snippet of what it was like delving into the book. But now moving into more current events, could you give me a few words of what you think about the presidential race taking place and its current candidates? Just a little off topic.
This election fundamentally is about what kind of nation we're going to be, who we are as a people. The ideals, the IDEALS, the ideals that we profess are quite different than the ideas that we see promulgated in this campaign. And somehow we have to figure out how we're going to square the ideals that we profess as Americans, the leader of the free world, with the ideas, the insane, crazy ideas, I think, to some extent, that are being advanced in this particular campaign. So this is fundamentally an election about what kind of nation we're going to be. Who are we really as a people? America has grown older, but in many ways we haven't grown up. We've grown older, but we've not grown wiser. And the fact that we're dealing with some of these sophomoric issues in this campaign, I think, speak to that. When you look at this vote that just took place in England, the Brexit vote, where England decides that it's going to secede, as it were, from the EU, from the European Union. A lot of people voted for that, and in the days after, they panicked when they realized what they had done, what that vote actually meant. Markets economically have crashed around the globe because of that decision. So it was a huge impact. Is having and will have a huge impact that Europe decided to leave Britain rather decided to leave the EU. So that we live in a global world, and if you think you can somehow isolate yourself on an island in a world of globalization, then you're kind of stuck on stupid. So Donald Trump is trumpeting what happened in England, and he thinks he can pull off the same sort of feat here in this country. I don't think that's possible, because in England they were voting for an issue, in America we're voting for an individual, and I think you have to get past who Donald Trump is as an individual to vote for him on the issues. And I don't think, quite frankly, that's going to happen. I could be wrong. The point is that the UK made a statement to the world with that vote, and the same is true for the US of A. That when we cast our vote this November, we are going to be making a statement to the world about what kind of nation we really are, who we really are as a people. That's what's at stake domestically and internationally. And so I think folks have to take a hard look at what these candidates are offering, what they're putting forth. And I think once they do that, I think at least that that's pretty clear that while we might not, while Hillary's numbers might be negative, they're not as negative as Trump's. Well, she might have some trust issues and some likability issues. They're not as bad as Trump. I hate these elections where you have to vote for the lesser of two evils. But at the end of the day, again, the election is about what kind of nation we are, what kind of people we are.
Did you watch the BET Awards?
I did not. I was traveling back here from on book tour, so I didn't get a chance to see it. I heard about it, though, yeah.
Yeah, there was
I saw Maxwell yesterday. He was on my TV show yesterday, so I got a chance to talk to Max about his performance in the show. He thought it was a great show. Yeah, most people I've heard think that the Prince tribute was a beautiful tribute.
Have you heard about Jesse Williams' speech?
About Jesse Williams' speech. I saw that, actually. I didn't see it, but I read it. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful speech. And I'm glad that he had the courage to say it to the audience that he said it to. I'm always, I'm getting older now, so I'm always encouraged when I see young people like Jesse Williams speak that kind of truth and speak it on a national television platform the way that he did. So no, he gets great credit from me for having the insight and the courage to speak what he spoke.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank
we
you, man.
Look forward to your future endeavors and hearing from you in the future.
I appreciate the Sentinel. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye now.